Continuing my series on the greatest sci-fi shows of all time. Now, as I mentioned in my intro video to this little series, I've been thinking about this for a while, and so there were a couple of shows that I went and checked out because people had recommended them. And one of those was Fringe. Now some backstory. You won't see the X-Files on my list of greatest sci-fi shows of all time. Why not? It's because even though at one point, say season 3, it was the best show on TV, notice I'm not saying best sci-fi show, while it was great at one point, it was just allowed to go on past its prime, and it just got so contrived and just dragged out. I mean, there was this season where Duchovny wasn't even there. Just went on way longer than it should have. You know, Firefly fans are always like, oh, if only we'd gotten another season or something like that. You know, I'm always kind of grateful that Firefly was cut short because it never had time to start stinking. And if you'd heard some of these storylines that they had in mind for Inara, you'd be glad too. But what I'd heard, the buzz about Fringe was that it's very X-Files, police procedural with the paranormal, with a consistent mythology, one that made a lot more sense than the X-Files mythology, which Chris Carter was clearly just making up as he went along. So I started binging Fringe, and yes, its mythology is more consistent, way more consistent than the X-Files, and there are some really great case of the week stories along the way. But is it the greatest sci-fi show of all time? Sorry, not even close, no. Don't even get me started on the invasion of the bald guys at the end. It's just, spoilers, a little hard to believe that beings capable of some of the things they're capable of in the earlier seasons can turn into such keystone cops at the end. No, I'm not even talking about that. No, my real problem is these. So much of the series rests on our investment in this relationship, and I don't see it. Never felt like there was any chemistry there. It just didn't work. Listen, guys, we know Anna Torv is great. We know it. It's an objective fact. Go watch Last of Us if you need more proof. So, I'm afraid we're going to have to lay the blame with, Dawson's Creek here. So much of what made the X-Files so compelling and so engaging and so iconic was that Duchovny and Anderson just crackled on screen. They were great together. And I know some people say the same about this pairing. It's just they're lukewarm at best. It just doesn't compare. From episode 1 on, I didn't buy it. And that they had, pushed the romance angle so clearly, it just did not work, didn't work for me. So sorry, Fringe heads. While there's a lot to be said in favor of the show, we're going to have to keep going to find the best, greatest sci-fi series of all time.